Hello, welcome to soularcanatarot. I'm Anthony and I'll be your reader today. Today's topic is what is blocking you from achieving a goal that you have in mind. A goal, it can be career, it can be about like your body, about routines, anything like that. I am going to be doing things just a little bit differently. It's still tarot, except for I do have my own custom cards. So right here, these cards will have a list of different defense mechanisms, so shadows that we have, and I don't want to frame shadow as negative. It's just a defense mechanism. So it's at some point, like the Fool card represents almost like that, how you were as a kid, like before you learned about like shame, before you learned about guilt, before you learned about a lot of different things. So at some point, something in your life may have damaged that kind of like pure, unidentified version of self. So the way I like to do it is I'll roll a d20 for the shadow, and then I'll roll a d4 for the landscape. So the landscapes would be like island, mountain, desert, and jungle. And it's kind of, the landscape will represent like how the defense mechanism is acting out in the real world. So let's get started. So roll the d20. We have 5. So let's see, 5. We have quasi, which is fear of rejection. We'll roll a d4 now. 3. 3 is desert. So as the Fool, at some point in your life, the desert represents the wands in the tarot. So that could be your creative passions, your interests. It's really just those. It's like your passion, your interests, the things that drive you, the things that give you purpose. But when the desert shows up, it is saying that you could have a fear of rejection of showing up because you may have had moments in the past where showing up as your original self meant danger, or it meant some sort of pain, or something along those lines. It could represent like burnout, failed projects, fear of being seen, fear of starting, feeling exposed, or like even a loss of passion too. And with quasi, it could be some shadow aspects of fear of rejection. Could be like seeking constant approval, fear of abandonment, emotional sensitivity to criticism, and like avoiding vulnerability. So we'll dive deeper into this defense mechanism. So it could be that you kind of dim yourself so that you're not seen, and that's in itself a defense mechanism. So the shadow isn't necessarily affecting other people, it's mainly affecting you and how you show up in the world. So the next cards we'll pull is the aces. So I separated the aces, and we'll see what comes out. So the ace will be your tool. So it'll be the tool that you have, the first steps that you have to kind of alleviate this fear of rejection. And it is Ace of Wands, so it's fire. So it's small exposure, small steps, and it's avoiding perfectionism. It's avoiding being a master at something. So in order to master something, you have to be a fool first. You could be innately gifted, but the experience that you get from doing the thing repeatedly is how like you kind of like get over the vulnerability, get over the fear of being exposed and being seen. So it's like small little incremental exposure without attaching how people are going to see it. So the next card will be an oracle, animal oracle card, and this card will represent your primal instinctual energy that you have inside you already. So the tool is like what you can do in the external world, and the animal oracle will be what you have internally. Like what you have inside of you that maybe you're afraid of showing. What are you naturally just gifted at? Bear. I'm going to go ahead and read from the book over here. But the bear represents the earth element. So it could be coming out of like a long hibernation. So it's almost like you've been preparing, you've been doing all the steps you can, but you just haven't shown up in the world. You haven't come out of your cave yet. But let's see what the book has to say as well. Just give me a moment while I look for it. Oh, it's the first page, okay. Okay, so bear. So waking from spiritual slumber, beginning anew. After a long winter, the bear arises from deep slumber. At first, the movement and effort are difficult, but the bear knows it's time to awaken and move forward and move toward the dawning light. The bear card represents an individual on the cusp of new direction and personal transformation. The initial weeks and months of this spiritual quest may feel tricky, cumbersome, and full of obstacles, but you have no choice, bear. Winter wanes, the warmth of spring emerges, and your transformation begins. So some things to keep you in balance is movement and exercise. Some symptoms that you can feel when you're out of balance could be withdrawal, lethargy, heaviness, and when in balance you feel inner strength and a yearning to grow. So from what I see so far, at one point you may have stepped out, and maybe you didn't get the results you wanted, or you're sharing it to people that didn't necessarily see your vision or the value of what you had to offer. But with the bear, it's saying that it's definitely time to show up. But like it said in the book, it's cumbersome, it's slow. Initially, it's like waking up from a long nap and you kind of feel that grogginess. It's that same concept with your creativity. So if it's just one small thing that you want to share without attaching anything to it, without attaching too much meaning of whatever it represents about you, because you are still learning. And with the Fool, when the Fool's reversed, it's almost like you're still in that cave, the bear cave. When it's upright, you know that you're still a beginner, but it's not going to stop you. Okay, so for the next tile, or the next area of the reading, we'll go into the quest card. So the quest card will be only from the major arcana, and we'll see what comes out. So the quest card is it's like the lesson that is trying to emerge. Tower. So the breaking down the old. So whether there could be a lot of things in your life that are kind of pointing you towards this, towards showing up in the world. And I think it's reached a point where it's not really giving you a choice. It's almost like the cave you're in is starting to collapse on itself, and the only way to move forward is out of the cave. Find a different cave. But the different, like not a different cave to hide in, but there's always going to be moments of hibernation, moments of exposure, vice versa. But with this, it's saying that hibernation has been very, very long. So I'm going to pull another oracle for the Tower card. So the quest is really about letting the old break down and being okay, coming out. When it was Cerberus, the gateway, it's almost like just your fear. Yeah, just the fear of being seen, the fear of rejection is the only thing that's stopping you. It's like you've created this giant monster that's blocking you, but it's really just created by yourself. And there's always going to be naysayers or negative people, but those aren't your people. They're doing that for a reason. They're showing you, hey, I'm not your person. So as hard as it can be, the more you practice not being so attached to the opinions of others, the easier it gets. So I'm going to go ahead and read the gateway. Okay. So card meaning, the gateway to living a life you love is guarded by your fear. You must push past the fear and self-doubt to realize your own power and connect with your aliveness. The reversed meaning. If you find yourself daunted, make sure you have people in your life who support you. Weed out those who keep you chained to fear or who keep you feeling powerless. So like I was saying before, there's always going to be those people that are naysayers or negative. But it's saying to those aren't your people, that's not your tribe. You may feel lonely when you first detach from the people around you that you don't resonate with anymore. But that gives you room for the new people that do resonate with you and do see you and see your value. Okay, for the bottom area, we're going to do the origin, the distortion, and the cost. So tell me the origin of the fear of rejection, the distortion of what you think it's protecting you from, and then the cost. The longer you stay in this, what is it going to cost you? So again, I have all the minor arcana separate. Oops, looks like two wanted to come out. So you have 4 of Wands. So it's definitely your community, the place you grew up, the place where you're at, is where that fear started. So you could have grown up around people that just didn't see your value or chose not to see your value, or I'm not entirely sure. Let's see what this flipped card is. Oh yeah, so 10 of Swords. So it was a very painful environment where it originated from. There was a lot of harsh words, a lot of almost like people wanting to keep you small. But that's where it originated from. So this is the defense. So your shadow isn't negative, it's not your enemy. It's just your defense. It's defending you from this past pain. But the issue with the shadow is it doesn't really necessarily has a hard time differentiating a threat versus not a threat. So it could be like a hypervigilance that you have learned from the fear of rejection. Okay, so now we'll go to the distortion. What you think staying small is protecting you from. Five of Wands. So 5 of Wands is like that competition, the ego battles, the clashes. If you see this picture, there's like a little bird and it's being attacked by all these different birds, and it's just kind of like moving in between them. So the distortion is that everyone is going to be like that. Your mind, your body learned that if I show up, then I'm going to be attacked. If I show up, then it's not going to be an easy thing. But that's the distortion, it's not true. And the cost. So if you stay in the cave, what is it going to cost you? It's going to cost you Three of Cups, which is, Three of Cups is really like, it is about community and things like that, but it's really about finding a people that you can show up emotionally with, people that get you, people that understand you, where you don't have to wear masks, you don't have to do anything. There's no fear. Your nervous system it feels safe being around these people, and that's what's going to cost you if you stay in that cave. So, and when in this particular Three of Cups, it's like he's manifesting them, he's bringing them out, but that's only because he's sharing his emotions. And when you share your emotions truthfully, eventually you will find those people. Okay, so now for the next area, we're going to move into the battle phase of the shadow. So it's more like a taming. So we will do the awareness strike, the action strike, and the endurance. So the awareness strike first is a Six of Swords. So the awareness is something to be aware of, is that you're already kind of in that transition of moving on to those old stories that other people have about you and that you have about yourself, that was born from the opinions of other people. So that is the awareness. The awareness is that you're not as far off as you think when it comes to transitioning, when it comes to taking those steps. I mean, that's why you're here watching this video. An action, so some sort of action that you can take. So we already know about the Ace of Wands, small exposure, and the Eight of Wands is now, that the time is now. You're ready. You're ready to let those eggs hatch, and you don't need to defend it as much, but yeah, it's about letting those eggs hatch that you've been protecting for so long. You could be three different things, or it can turn into three different things. Okay, now the endurance. So the endurance is what action you're going to have to maintain during the uncomfortable transition points. What are you going to have to maintain? Five of Swords. So avoiding mental battles, avoiding winning at all costs. So you might be triggered still, and there still might be people that trigger you, but it is saying to continue moving, not to take like baiting for an argument, baiting for, yeah. So it's really saying when these times come up in your life, when you're coming out of your cave and showing up as your authentic self, you still will be triggered, but the endurance is to continue doing it anyways. And this will eventually turn into the Six of Swords fully, where you fully moved on from the past mental chatter. Okay, so now that we have quasi here, the fear of rejection, and now that we understand it, now it's time to integrate them. Integrate quasi. So now I have the court cards. So the court cards are going to be how you show up. How you show up with this new phase of self. Ooh, that is a lot. Okay, I'm going to take the face-up one. So now the transformation has happened, and you are the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands is not the fastest mover, but they do have some logic before they act. It's still quick, but there is some logic, and it's not a master yet. So it could be saying that you're as you step into the limelight, or just step out into the world as your most authentic self. It's going to be important to set your boundaries, to speak your mind, to even learn more, or to network as well, to network and maybe meet some more people that you can that really understand you. And you don't have to wear any masks. You don't have to dim yourself or anything like that. So you move on from fear of being seen, fear of speaking up, fear of existing, to boldly stepping out, boldly speaking your mind, boldly using logic versus emotion and like raw passion. It's more just logical. Okay. The last card is going to be your treasure. So your treasure will be another oracle. The treasure is basically after some time of implementing these energies, you'll get reddening. So I'm going to go ahead and read from the book because I'm not too familiar with this one. Although I do see the snake. It looks like there's a lead and gold. I'm not sure what that is. And there's the infinity symbol, so it's almost like people in the past have seen you as lead, but in reality you've been hiding the gold that you have, and the snake sheds its skin. So it's literally a transformation from lead to gold, from being stuck heavy to malleable and bright not being like fear of being seen. Gold is very bright and you could see it. So let's see. If I could find it, let's see, where is that? Number 15. Oh, there it is. So, reddening, life force, kundalini, and blood. The reddening indicates a full expression of the work. Everything is alive. The heart pumps, the cells celebrate, and blood sings its way through the body. What was dormant has been awakened. What was once considered base is now noble. Aches and pains are integrated, shadows are acknowledged and interwoven. When the reddening card appears, it signifies health, power, a climaxing of the work, a coalescing of what has been learned. The laboratory is no longer separate from the alchemist or from the work, but the three are now one. What occurs in the body is reflected in the world, and vice versa. Through the process of reddening, we move out of the head and into the physical body. More specifically, we reach the heart. It is there the alchemist finds the sacred ingredients of power and kindness. So I think that was a good cap for this collective reading. And I think fear of rejection is something that we all experience. I mean, I've done so many of these readings for myself, and I feel like it's helped me. So let's see, I do have a quest card, or a side quest card for you, and it is basically the remedy to fear of rejection. So some quest cards, some small things that you can do after this reading is share a small truth, initiate something, and risk being fully seen. So these three different things are like the remedies of fear of rejection. Again, start slow. You may feel uncomfortable, there may be some backlash, but it's saying that if you stick with it, you're gonna find your tribe. Okay, Well, thanks for listening. I'm soularcanatarot. If you'd like a personal reading, you can find that in the description box. And I'm gonna try and post pretty regularly. I don't have a strict routine yet, but the more I upload, the more I'll figure it out. I'm in the same position as you, as the quasi. I'm still stepping out as a reader, so thanks for listening, thanks for sticking by, and I'll see you next time.